some of your first clients come from? Because obviously, you were working full time and then doing those client projects on the side.
Anyone listening that is in a similar boat, don't learn this lesson the way that I did, the hard way.
That you're so excited to now have that plaque on your wall. That wasn't an overnight thing.
But we have a lot of success stories where we took a literal idea.
My guest today on the show is Darriel Kelly. He's the founder of DK Marketing. He has been in this space for over a decade, working on lead generation, automation, AI, all the things. So I am super excited to have him on the show today. Darriel, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So we were talking just before we started filming. Before digital marketing, before you jumped into a marketing agency, you were working for Brown Forman and Compliance.
I did.
Brown Forman, for those of you guys who don't know, is a very big liquor, alcohol brand. Big deal in the state of Kentucky, kind of a foundational kind of company. And you were doing their compliance on digital marketing. Prior to that, what were you doing? How did you even get into this digital marketing world?
Oh, I love this. I'm glad we're starting here. You wanted to know. So, okay, the only reason I moved to Louisville, Kentucky in the first place is because I was a professional wrestler traveling all up and down the East Coast, all over the place. And WWE, your John Cena's and those guys,
Okay.
they were local here, right? So this was WWE's developmental territory.
Okay.
So I came here because that's what I wanted to do. And ironically, before I left, so I'm from North Carolina. Before I left there, I ran wrestling shows myself. Now, we noticed that we had to pay for these shows somehow. So we would go around and locally sell advertising.
Okay.
And I'll spare you all the details between then and now, but it was a natural progression. Once I kind of hung up the boots and went to college, I pretty much knew where I was going.
Wow. So you went from being in the ring to going out to local businesses in the area to end up actually selling spots to actually afford the ring for other wrestlers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Typically, we'd go in, and this was hard to do, particularly at the time. A lot of people weren't doing it. But we would, the venue, the wrestlers, everything was paid for before the show started, more often than not. And that's how we afforded it. And we had a blast. But yeah, that's how I learned, hey, I kind of like this marketing stuff. And wrestling, I won't go too far down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
There's a lot of marketing involved in wrestling.
I would imagine.
Every character is a brand, and
Yeah, it's also part entertainment, part athleticism, right?
Whoa, it is.
Okay. I'm like, no, okay, don't let me get it wrong. But yeah, so then you made the jump into corporate life after that, kind of left wrestling behind for a little bit.
Yeah. My final match that I ever had, I didn't even know it was my final match. I had no clue. And that probably worked out for the best.
Okay.
Because that was my life. It was everything. And, basically I was in Florida still with WWE's developmental. Like I followed them around. That's where I needed to work. Right. And instead of getting the job that, I felt like it was time, I thought it was my time to get my job. They hired a guy, no disrespect to this guy, but he was from India and they were moving into an India TV market.
Okay.
Well, I can't change where I'm from. I'm like a white guy with dark hair. So like I started thinking, I'm like, there's probably not going to be a lot of opportunities here because at the time, it wasn't talent based. And I'm not saying I was the most talented there, but how do you get better? I can't. So anywho, went to college, finished that up. And after college, it was like, hey, it's time to go get a job. It's time to go get in a corporate environment. And Brown Forman was so good. It was phenomenal. The people that I worked there, those were S-tier people. I was a tiny fish in a pond of people that were phenomenal at what they do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I was not the corporate type at all, and learned how to kind of speak that language, learned how to be a professional, learned how to communicate. Really, all the things that I do now were picked up in that environment.
Amazing. Well, then let's talk about the transition from working your 9 to 5. We have several members of my community that come to mind immediately where I think they're working that 9 to 5, they're freelancing, they're building websites on the side. What was your transition from that corporate world into being your own boss?
For me, it was interesting. So I started the company having already had clients of my own, right? So there was this hybrid nature, and I didn't exactly know, is this going to be where I land? Is this going to be where I land? But what I did know I wanted to run my own agency.
Yeah.
I knew that was the long-term play, and I was trying to pick up every bit of information that I could and absorb everything while I was there. Fortunately for me, there wasn't some nasty breakup or anything. It was, hey, we moved into COVID, everybody started working from home, and somewhere around that transition, it was just natural for me to, all right, well, you're on your own now. So, somewhere in there, it was time to kind of break that, the duality of working for both and just go all in on myself.
Gotcha. Where did some of your first clients come from? Because obviously, you were working full time and then doing those client projects on the side. How did you market yourself? How did you gain those first couple of clients?
We had no clue what we were doing.
That's pretty much always the case.
So
when we first get started. Yep.
There was a whole lot of door knocking, right?
Door knocking.
Yeah. Our very first campaign, I still to this day think this is a very clever campaign that we did. We basically went out and we needed an excuse to get in the door, right? So we went to every local business we could find. There was no niche. You just had to have a business. And we went in and we said, hey, we're about to launch this consulting marketing thing, and free of charge, we're doing a bunch of free advertising for people just to be a part of it.
Okay.
And we did this countdown. It was 100 days, 100, I want to say days. We'll have to look back. It's somewhere in the archives of our Facebook and Instagram, but it was like a countdown from what I believe was 100 days leading up to it.
Okay.
So each client, say a vacuum cleaner business, for example, we would go in there and we would arrange some vacuums in whatever number they were. So if there was 77 days to launch, well, we would arrange the vacuums in 2 sevens, right? And they would get some free advertising. We'd tag them on social.
Okay.
And way back in 2013, you could actually get a lot of organic traffic.
Yeah.
So we would do this and they would get some free advertising, but it would position us. Really the play, like the back end psychological play that was going on, was we were meeting all of these people, giving them something for free, and that was our lead pool afterwards.
Yes.
So that's what it was all about. And we ended up getting a handful of clients off of this. But when I say we didn't know what we were doing, we didn't know, all right, what's next? So we would go in and I would use my college brain. So what's your margins? What's, what are your goals? What does this look like?
Yeah.
And it was okay, but there was no, like now everything's, we got SOPs and processes. We pretty much drop them in a machine and it goes. So anywho, that's how we kick the door in. And
Well, I love that. I mean, because the principle of that still remains the same today, which is if you can provide value for free, you gain that trust, you get your foot in the door with a conversation that could lead to a potential client.
For sure. And for years we would go in, I was always like a fan of doing video work.
Uh-huh.
So I would go in and I would say, hey, we'll film you a free video. You use it. It's yours. You keep it. And it was good. Like we did good video work.
Yeah.
And that was our foot in the door to sell marketing. Like, hey, okay, let us run a campaign off of this. Let me show you what we can do.
Yeah.
And we did that for a long time until it was just no longer, feasible for us.
Right. Yeah. It's very similar to what I encourage people to do now. If they really are itching for those first couple of clients, it's, get on video, send out value. You can even do things like mock them up a landing page or some improvements on their website, send it over, send an AI chatbot over to them, demo it, and then, that gets the conversation started. So fast forward, what's going on, Destiny Makers? I just wanted to take this quick commercial break sponsored by, well, me. If you've been hearing these stories and you are inspired and want to actually start crafting your destiny and building, especially if you build for other clients and you want to dive in more with resources, I have a completely free workshop and masterclass to invite you to, as well as the Kismet Club, where you can go deeper and we can turn this fun and this magic into daily support. So come check it out, kismet.club, and I'll see you on the inside. Congratulations to you. You're building your marketing agency, right? And you're serving all these clients, but you also have connected with the opportunity with the HighLevel platform, which I also promote and use as well for our businesses and our clients. And you won an award on their stage for a certain number of software sub-accounts. Tell us about, congratulations, first of all. That's amazing.
Yes, we just got our SaaSPreneur award this past year, 2025. For us, so the interesting thing about the SaaSPreneur Award with us, we don't actually have, and your audience, hopefully this isn't like a, knockdown or anything, but we don't really have a lot of SaaS clients.
This is a welcome space for that, because I was telling you, I mean, the majority of folks that I'm arm in arm with on a weekly basis, we also do not just sell a $97 account. We're not software companies. We're freelancers. We're service providers. We're digital architects.
For sure. Yeah. And the ones that we haven't worked out particularly well. They'll want to know everything about how to use HighLevel, and HighLevel is complicated.
It is.
And we have seen HighLevel since, I want to say 2018, maybe 2019, maybe it's 2019.
Okay.
So we were relatively early adopters. Do you know when they started? 17, 18? It was somewhere in there.
Well, they celebrated 5 years last year. So yeah, somewhere right around there. And I believe I found out about them in 2020 during the midst of not really going anywhere out of the house. And I've always been software obsessed, but I thought this is a really interesting platform. But I think we dove in full force in about 2022. And so basically what you're saying is that it was never the function of getting that award wasn't you went out there and marketed a software.
Correct.
You went out there and served businesses from a service perspective. And when it made sense, you put them on the software.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's pretty much standard. If someone just wants a website or something, one-off, we'll go in and not do anything high level related. But if we're running campaigns or whatever, HighLevel is an excellent tool. Yeah. So they all just by default go in there, and we'll kind of get them accustomed to using it for their purposes. Yeah. But yeah, most of our clients are, we are their marketing team. Yeah. And, that's, just kind of how it came to be. And there's downsells too, right? So like if you're not ready for that, here's a downsell, and we'll hosting a website, this, that, and the third. We'll do some of that too.
Well, I want to talk about the marketing and how you approach working with these businesses. But before we jump on that topic, I think what you're saying too is that award that you're so excited to now have that plaque on your wall, that wasn't an overnight thing. That was incrementally adding one, new subscriber at a time. And that's a lot of what I really encourage people to do. I think there's that quote that we far overestimate what we can do in the short run, what we underestimate what we can do in the long run. And giving it that long-term commitment, sort of the longer horizon type view when you set out to do this. I mean, was that in your mind when you first got started? Or did you ever struggle with this feeling of impatience? Like it's not happening fast enough?
Oh, I stay impatient. I have absolutely no patience whatsoever.
Same.
But that award in particular, you always see people, especially, what is it, what's Russell Brunson's award?
The 2 Comma Club.
Yeah, so you'd see that for years, and you'd see the SaaSPreneur Award that got out there. I'm like, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
And like there was that angst and stuff. Like I want to put it on my wall too. But I'm far more concerned with like, okay, well, what are we doing on a monthly basis? What are we doing on a quarterly basis financially? However, that award is nice to kind of validate some fruits of our labor, I suppose.
Yeah, it's the external validation to what you already know you've put the work into. And I like what you said. I stay impatient as well, but I try and really balance that with the foresight to realize that the work we're putting in to build monthly recurring revenue on an incremental basis, no matter how slow or fast it feels, is something profound, because 5 years from today, we're going to have a drastically different business than an agency that doesn't put that focus on monthly recurring revenue, especially from a software standpoint, because that's not tied to additional services. So amazing.
Oh, yeah.
That's super exciting. So you're doing that. And what are your primary packages? I know a lot of people are wondering, okay, well, how do we go get the clients? And we talked about that, but what do you actually offer them and how are you fulfilling it?
Here's what we learned a long time ago. So if I sell someone Google Ads, or if I sell them a website, whatever it is, maybe they actually need that thing. Well, the problem that we run into is if we develop incredible Google Ads that are just killing it from your CTR is awesome, your, cost per click awesome, everything's awesome, but that landing page isn't good.
Right.
But we didn't sell them that landing page.
Right.
Well, we have a problem. Well, there's tons of scenarios just like that. Well, okay, what if we're bringing them a bunch of leads, but they're not able to reach out to these leads fast enough?
Right.
That's where lead nurturing comes in. So we can't realistically pigeonhole ourselves into a narrow scope of work. So the way we position ourselves, and depending on who you talk to, a lot of people say, hey, you need to narrowly classify your scope of work to save yourself, headache and stress down the road.
Yeah. Scope creep. Yeah.
We do to an extent. However, whenever we give a scope of work, it is very much, hey, we're looking for wins. So what we talk about is what is your financial goal this year?
Yeah.
Right? Let's break that into quarters. Okay. What's on the horizon for you and how are you going to hit that this quarter? And then we'll go in and reverse engineer everything to where we can build campaigns that are going to work no matter what we have to do. And a lot of times it is something like, here's your PPC ads, here's your lead nurture, here's landing pages. It kind of all encompassing.
Totally.
But if there's something that's missing and their branding is not quite where it needs to be, well, we need to step in and make sure it works, because we take ownership as a partner, and we partner with these companies to be their marketing team that they can depend on to get them wins, because they don't know this stuff. They're busy running their business just like we are, right? So we go in and we make sure that whatever's necessary gets done. And with that being said, a lot of times it is kind of the same stuff.
Does that mean that the majority of your marketing proposals are actually custom solutions? So it depends on the business you're talking to as to what gets included in that proposal?
We do have standardized packages. However, every business is a little bit different, and therefore there is a level of customization. So I'll tell them on the front end, I'll say, hey, okay, if you're at this stage, right, let's just for the sake of what we'll understand, let's say you're at 20,000 MRR, right? Well, okay. And think about it just as an agency. So if you need to get to 30,000, well, okay, here's exactly what we'll do to get to 30. Well, the problem, once you hit 30, you just unlocked a whole bunch of new problems.
Right.
Right. So you have to be able to have pieces in play to where every time you level up, you're prepared for those next, series of problems. And we've been doing it long enough now to where we can identify where they're at and where they're about to be. So we'll kind of, act as a consultant to say, hey, here's what you're about to run into. We're going to solve it by doing this. So we do have standardized packages.
Yeah.
However, we leave it open enough to solve the problems that are on the horizon.
And are you solving any business niche across multiple industries across the U.S.? What's that look like for you?
We've always been a general agency.
Yeah.
And I like it. I have traditionally liked it. Now we're kind of moving into a situation. So I got in with Josh Nelson and Seven Figure Agency.
Yeah, seen that guy.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's built something phenomenal. I can't even believe it exists, where you essentially have, dozens of millionaires that are just at your disposal and meeting with you all week long.
Wow.
He's built something very special. But one of his big things from day one was you got to niche down.
Got it. Yeah.
So right now we're in the process of, okay, in Q4 of last year, we lost 8 clients. I'd never lost 8 clients in a year.
Okay.
So I'm like, what's going on?
Well, what's going on?
The biggest issue by far is 6 out of 8 of those were startups. Well,
That's a tough crowd to please.
it's incredibly hard. It's impossible. They haven't got knocked around a bunch. They haven't perfected their processes.
Right.
They don't have a business.
They also don't know the pricing of what it costs to hire for these services.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it was a major problem. So
That was a big hit in the month of December.
Oh yeah. And you're going into Christmas. We have 3
Yeah.
children, and not at the risk of sounding arrogant, but like we're fine, but we have payroll, we have tons of expenses, and everyone wants to see those lines going up, right?
Totally.
So even if it's not like, hey, we're going to be eating ramen noodles this week, it's still, hey, long term, this does not look good.
Totally.
So
Plus, it's easy to take that personally.
absolutely.
All of a sudden, you're like, well, I set this up, and then all these people just decided to jump ship. What's wrong with my ship?
Yes.
Okay.
And I wanted to take it personal. Why did this guy do that to me?
Yeah. It's easy. We're human. Yeah.
Kind of the professional wrestler comes at me, and I want to cut the promo, like standing there with a microphone.
Right.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Is this when we slam a chair over his head or like
Yes.
clothesline him? Okay, go ahead.
No, in reality, what's hilarious is me locking myself in a room, scratching my head, like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And that's how we figured it out. And it sounds easy in hindsight,
Sure.
but we have a lot of success stories where we took a literal idea to 6, 7-figure businesses.
Wow.
We've done it over and over.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's because we're with the right people.
Yeah.
Right. When you're not with the right people, that's when you'll work really hard for 3 months and they're going to leave.
Yeah.
So in an agency space, we decided, and I had heard this a million times, but we sure liked making that money too. And we have so many good stories.
Yeah.
We're finally to the point, and anyone listening that is in a similar boat, don't learn this lesson the way that I did, the hard way. Go ahead and do yourself a favor. If they don't have an established business with established processes and they're not ready for you, save yourself that headache.
Yes.
Save yourself that.
I hear that on the startups all day long, and especially because when you're in a position as an agency owner, as a website designer, freelancer, however you consider yourself, and you need clients and you need cash flow, sometimes it can be a hindrance to stick yourself in this box where, like, I have to find the perfect niche and I can't go out there and get any clients until I do. Sometimes it's better to just get scrappy and go get businesses, but all day, every day, I agree with what you're saying is go for the established business. Don't go for the startup. It makes things so much more complicated. So here you were in December, and it sounds like two worlds converged. You had Josh telling you in your ear that you should niche down. You have all these clients that are startups and the wrong fit for you that are now seeing themselves out, exit stage left. So what's happening now and what's the plan?
So it's interesting. So Josh didn't come. I just started with them in January.
Oh, gotcha.
So that was
the catalyst to find some support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So making sure that we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And making sure we're going after the right people, making sure our pricing is right. We've always had relatively low pricing. And making sure that we're with people that are doing the same thing as us.
Yeah.
And we're all kind of in this together.
That's great.
So, and they built a community that's so good. So I can come in there and someone that's been doing it for 3 years and they're at 10,000 MRR, right? I can come in and I can be an asset to them.
Yeah.
Well, someone like our coach is doing 150,000 MRR. He can be an asset to us. We're not doing 150,000. Like we need to break that 6-figure mark on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So like everyone's helping each other, and that helped out a lot. And now we're focusing more so on home service-based businesses, remodeling, restoration. Like that's who we're going after.
Great.
And I wouldn't say it's off the table, but you better come highly referred if you're outside of that scope.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like you're firing your existing clients that fall out of those industries. You're just, from here on forward, you're kind of marking your new path.
Absolutely.
That's really powerful. That's really powerful. So let's talk about that. If you're listening to this podcast right now and you're thinking, wow, I'm in a similar shoes and I'm ready to start niching down. What has been your next? I think it's really easy to overcomplicate it at that point because you go, well, with any industry that we've served, we've really lived well off of word of mouth referrals and a little bit of the basics. What's your focus now on when you're thinking remodelers, et cetera? Are you going out and getting leads list? Are you doing cold email outreach? Are you just focused on organic social? Are you running ads? What's your marketing strategy for these new clients now that you have this niche in mind?
For sure. We do a little bit of all of it. And it's not necessarily a scatter shot. It's just it's always going to come down to the three things, right? We need the right person and we need to find them in the right place.
Yeah.
And it has to be the right time.
The right time.
So for that reason, we have, cold email that's going out. So we'll do approximately 500 a day through cold email. We have some cold calls. We haven't had a lot of success, but we've had a little bit. So I hate the amount of time and effort that goes into it, but she's great. And, she does her thing. So, and then webinars are good because you have that one-to-many, aspect, and we're able to go on there and give a ton of value just up front. Nothing with us. Now, I don't know how most people really do this, but we don't keep anything as ours. Like you're not renting from us. So like your website, you own it right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You own everything. So whenever you leave us, you just take it. So for that reason, on a webinar, in a webinar situation, we can go out and just kind of give the playbook because we know the amount of resources that we have in-house that it takes to pull it off.
It does take a lot of attention to detail.
And if you don't have that, which most people do not have that,
right,
it's easy for them on that call to say, hey, this is awesome, but there's no real way I can implement all of this on my
Totally.
own. So they'll either take parts of it and implement it at absolutely no cost.
Gotcha.
Or they can go in and they can say, well, hey, this is a good time to have the conversation of what's it look like if our team works together.
Now on those webinars, are you presenting openly the downsell of just get the CRM tool and do it yourself?
I'm not. Now, I will tell them what it is and all that stuff. We don't even have, well, I suppose we have an affiliate account, but
Yeah.
we don't use it. I don't have a single
Check your
affiliate.
link on there for sure in your resource guide. Why not?
Leaving money on the table.
Well, totally. Yeah. New stream of income. But I hear what you're saying, because if you do outwardly present, you say, listen, we can provide you a proposal to do a custom solution, build all this entire playbook for you. And someone goes, I don't think I have the stomach for that kind of budget. And then you present them, well, you can just get the high level, full suite of everything you need with us. And it's $200 a month.
Sure.
You end up with problem children. You're going to end up with people who are expecting the playbook to be built, but had only invested in just getting, the tool.
Exactly.
And so I hear that, because that could lead to a can of worms. But that's really powerful. So you're doing a little bit of everything to see what's really sticking and really working. Are you running your cold email outreach through HighLevel?
No. We could. In fact, Josh Nelson recommends that you do.
Wow,
so,
cool.
But we don't. We use Instantly.
Yep.
What I like about Instantly, so we'll set up, we have 10 inboxes, right? So 10 inboxes.
Right.
So it will just take a little from each one.
And then you can run the rules. You can webhook them into the HighLevel when they've actually responded and they're qualified.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's exactly what we do.
Cool. I love that mix. All right. Well, then let's talk about, so, you're building all of this and you're saying you've got a team, you've got all these resources in house, and then you work with your wife.
Oh, yeah.
I've been wanting to talk about this. I mean, so many people could see that as idyllic or the dream, but what is it really like working with your wife? And in this agency world, I know we work a lot.
Sure. It's both incredible and awful at the same time.
Yeah.
And she would agree.
Yeah.
So, okay, she was a manager at Longhorn Steakhouse for several years, and kind of our big pie in the sky, like, hey, I think this is happening. I think we can get you out of there. And we finally pulled the trigger, and it was terrifying. We were
I bet.
so scared, but it was the right time. Since then, everything has been so much better business-wise. Everything went in the exact direction it needed to go.
Yeah.
We get to spend a lot of time together, which is great. But with that comes a lot of problems too, where there's these, you don't have the same boundaries with your spouse as you would maybe a colleague.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say it's perfect, but for us, it works. And we work with other husband and wife teams also, and we all kind of have the same struggles. It's just as great as it is a challenge.
I would imagine it for me, even as much as I work, it's hard for me to turn it off sometimes. And then if your co-founder is also the one in the kitchen at night, cooking a meal together, and then it would be hard to turn off work mode.
Yeah.
You guys have like a secret code word or something that you use to go, that's enough for now.
No, having our office does create separation, which is good.
Yes, and I wanted to talk to you about that as well. So, in this world of digital marketing and digital marketing agencies, we have a lot of people these days that are running it out of their homes, but you have a physical location, an office address.
We do, yeah.
Was that an early on decision, or did you graduate into that? What are your philosophies around that? I can see a really clear benefit of leaving work at the office, and then home is a whole different place.
I could say so many things right now. We kind of outgrew our home because we have 3 children. So for each of our children to have their own bedroom, having an office was necessary. But also we ran into issues with hiring. So having people work remotely they didn't have that same drive and work ethic that we have.
Sure.
So like they'd be, I don't even know, sleeping, or, they'd be MIA quite a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas having them in the office, well, now we're all collaborating at all times.
That's great.
Right. Another thing, so our typical client, this is like a full circle moment. I work very well with our corporate clients because, coming from Brown-Forman, I speak that language. There's more stability. They have structures, so we can go to different parts of their team, and I work well in that environment. Well, they kind of I wouldn't say they expect, but they sure appreciate, all right, there's some legitimacy here. And not that you can work at home and be incredibly legitimate and get incredible results, but having that it shows well, right? And it presents us well.
That's amazing. And you have your team members coming in there every single day. That's awesome. That's definitely one of the things to do. And if you don't feel in your world like you can afford an office space, there's always these co-working spaces.
And you don't need an office to be successful in the agency space. You really don't. We probably did over 20,000 a month before we ever had an office.
Yeah.
And did just fine, and no one really cared. But there was bottlenecks for us at a personal level where we're working and having all this stress in our home and screaming children. Like, there's just a lot.
Yeah.
So
3 kids sounds like a lot of arms and legs. So let's talk about, what's your vision? Everyone's vision is unique. I mean, that's why the show is, the Kismet show. It's why I believe you have to engineer for your destiny and not just look at what are they doing? What should I be doing because of what they're doing? It's more of crafting from within. So what's your vision for your agency and where you're heading?
I put a ton of effort and time, an unreasonable amount of time, into making sure that our clients are getting the wins that they need. I will pull all-nighters. I will work 7 days a week. I do whatever it takes. And I've done that for a long time.
Yeah.
It has worked well for us. If you come into our office, which I invite you to come anytime, the way that it's situated, you go in, you see a bunch of stuff about us, and you get greeted by, the front desk girl. Well, then there's a bunch of signs all over the walls of success stories where this person's hit 6 figures, this person's hit 7, like success stories that we've done over the years. And then there's our conference room, and that's where we build your story, right? So you kind of get a little bit of everything in there. Well, it took a whole lot of effort to make that happen because we don't drop you in a bucket and say, okay, we'll hope for the best, and then we're out selling someone else.
Yeah.
No, we're fighting for our people. We're fighting hard because they have to get wins.
Yeah.
I value, the number one metric that I value more than anything else is retention. I need that person to stay with me for a very long time.
Love that.
I need that relationship to be strong. And in order to do that, they're helping us win. They're paying us.
Yeah.
Well, we're helping them win. And through that, we just retired a client that we retired him. We just had a client retire. He was with us for 10 years.
Wow.
We have someone else that's approaching 10 years. Like, we have a lot of long-term clients and great relationships that we've earned over the years.
Yeah.
And long-term vision, I want to be able to keep that, but make sure that our team and DK Marketing, not Darriel Kelly, is the one that's making sure that happens. And it's incredibly hard because do they care as much? Well, if I hire the right people, they do.
Yeah.
Right? So as long as we can keep those stories coming, but I can kind of not take a step back from working, but when I say I work around the clock,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to put it down at 6, 7 o'clock.
Totally.
Maybe go to the gym. So my long-term vision is to keep producing these results because we are literally changing lives.
That's amazing.
And I think a lot of times we lose focus of the impact that we're having. We're not just, I don't look at it as, hey, we're setting up some ads for these people, and move on. We are literally setting the foundation to hit their goals just like we're trying to hit ours.
Yeah.
So in doing that, if we're changing these people's lives and we're getting them where they dreamed of, you, me, the viewers, everyone, we've all been sitting in our bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, just dreaming of this magical thing that we want to create. Right. Well, that's what our clients did. And if we can contribute to actually having them achieve it, and that's tangible and it's in their hands, that's why I do this in the first place. And that's the stories that I put on the wall. And that's what I want to keep churning out over and over, but hopefully live past 50 in the process.
Yeah, right.
And I can't do that if I keep on burning myself out.
That's true. The cycles of burnout, right? They're very easy to get into. And I can tell with the level of passion that you hold that you are helping people achieve their dreams. It's this is not for the faint of heart. Because not only are you building your own dream from your agency standpoint, but you have the dreams of so many of all of your clients with you every single day, right?
It's heavy.
It is. It is. And the dreams of your employees, whether that's just for them to keep a roof over their head and keep their job, or they have bigger aspirations of growing through your company. And so that's a lot to take on. And it's very easy for us to reach that level of burnout because we do care and we will work Saturday, Sunday, every single day of the week. What are your go-tos when you really need to just cope or figure out like, how am I going to break this cycle? Because I agree with you in so many ways. I think I'm going on a decade now of pure, like, it feels like I'm running as fast as I can. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
And finally trying to start to unravel that because, of course, you know, if you think about the psychological space, I've now wired neurons in my brain that say this is how I thrive in the world is near around the clock working. And so how do you create a space where you don't do that? I mean, obviously you rely on really good people and having the right team in place, but also we kind of have to rewire ourselves to give ourselves the permission to, you know, turn off the computer, shut down the laptop.
That's exactly right. I am getting better. I am not good at it, but I'm getting better at delegation. I know that everything doesn't have to be touched by me. I don't want to lose that level of care.
Yeah.
But as long as that's not lost and the work is still given that level of care and, you know, attention to detail, then I'm fine. You know, I think that's acceptable. So I think for me, it's just making sure that things are delegated, and I, like you said, give myself permission to go do anything else.
Right. Yes, exactly. So there are probably quite a few people, maybe you're listening to this right now or watching it on YouTube and you're thinking, that's awesome for Daryl, like, you know, really crushing it out the park. You have your baseline of clients. But Daryl, what would you say to somebody listening right now who is wanting to just hit that 10K a month threshold with their clientele and they're feeling a little bit stuck or overwhelmed about what to do now?
Honestly, my take on if you are below 10K, what you should be doing is anything and everything, because you should not be at the level of burnout that I'm talking about.
Right.
You should be trying to get there. And that sounds kind of,
Okay.
you know, that sounds odd, but I would knock on every door. I would listen to every expert. I would have your own sell stuff set up. Instantly is a great platform for cold email. Cold email still works.
Yeah.
I would do anything and everything. And once you get those early clients, we grew off of referrals. That's kind of like a dirty word in agency. It's like, oh, you work just off referrals? Like, yeah, we made a whole lot of money off of them too.
Same. Yeah.
So when you get that first person, that second person, that third person, knock it out of the park.
Exactly.
Give them a level of attention that they have never experienced before.
Yeah.
Give them results that are measured in their face and make it where they would never consider not working with you.
Right.
And they're going to tell every one of their friends, every one of their colleagues that, you know, at least a portion of their success is directly attributed to you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And I think that goes back to that patience where if you're an entrepreneur, you're already wired to be slightly impatient, to have big aspirations, big dreams. And it does come down to that. It's, you know, I don't need to sell 100 clients tomorrow. I need to get the next one, take imperfect action, but really exceed their expectations.
Oh, I literally made a living off of taking imperfect action.
Yeah.
Nothing I ever did was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very true. Just do it.
Yep.
You have to go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what actually builds the confidence. Well, this is amazing. I've really loved this opportunity. And again, kind of going back to this notion of Kismet, this is a question I ask all my guests. And for those of you listening, please reflect on this. But when you picture the vision of what you want your future, your destiny to look like, what's that next big thing for you that you're working on?
If any of my clients or friends are watching this, they're going to be very surprised by my answer because I eat, sleep, breathe, live business all day long. My grandfather, he passed away at 94 years old. This man spent his entire life serving other people. He gave to his community. He grew a garden, large garden, and would work himself to death all day, every day. And then he would take all those vegetables, all that food, and he would give it all away. He would go and he would do Meals on Wheels. He would go to the local food kitchen for people that, couldn't afford meals, and he would wash dishes.
Wow.
He did everything. He was active in his church. He did everything to help his community. I am passionate about helping my clients, and I think that's how I am like him.
Yeah.
But I think long term, the more I get removed, the more impactful things outside of business that I can really do. And knowing that if I can start building that now,
Yeah.
then that legacy and what he did that was so impactful, he changed an entire community.
Wow.
The man was incredible. He was incredible. I look up to that man so much, and there's so many similarities, just different. I hope to have that level of impact because he's no longer here. And if I can have that impact, now I feel like that's my responsibility, or at least the responsibility that I want to bear.
Yeah.
Right. So in business, making sure that the business is doing what it needs to do so that I can have the time and I can have the resources to go and do that and continue his work. That's genuinely what I want.
I love that. That's so powerful because it's, there's deep purpose and meaning in serving our local community while we also build things that go out and touch people around the world. So I love that.
And it's easy to lose sight of your why. Like there's always a why. We're doing this because something happened. I'm reading this book. What is it? The Millionaire Mindset or something. I read it a long time ago and I'm reading it again.
Yeah.
And it talks about like, hey, something happened. It could have been traumatic. It could have been minor. Something happened to make you want to do this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be sitting here if there wasn't some catalyst.
That's right.
Right? Well, for me, I needed my family to see me as a success. I needed it. I don't know why, but something happened and I needed it.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't really around. My mom struggled to raise 3 children. I'm like, I need to be more than that. And I need to show them that, hey, I'm special.
Yeah.
Right? I needed it. Well, aside from that, I need to make sure that I have that level of impact that my grandfather had.
Yeah.
I have to do that. And I think it's important. We stay on this hamster wheel constantly, and it's exhausting. It's easy to lose focus of why we did this in the first place.
Yeah.
But if we can ever take a moment and just breathe and remember why, it helps to kind of reset and to give us that energy that we need to, dare I say, keep going.
That's wonderful. It's I can already picture the garden for you, and
I don't know if I'd be a good gardener. We'll see.
the metaphorical garden.
Yes.
Because what I've really appreciated about this conversation, Daryl, is your focus on the long term. We can get really caught up and spun up as entrepreneurs when we're just thinking about what revenue we got to make this quarter or some number we need to generate in our business to feel like we've made it. But the reality is it's a lifelong pursuit of making a difference in people's lives. And that's what I really, really gathered from our conversation here.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And you will hit a point, like if you're not at that 10K, you're relatively early on in your business, you're going to hit a point where you really wanted a bunch of money. Well, now you have it, and you're going to be, what next?
Right.
And it gets to be this, I wouldn't say a burden, but you start to lose some focus, some meaning, right? Yeah. So being able to go back and remember why, that's what can keep us going, because there's always some deeper meaning that has very little to do with money.
My gosh. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing your journey today. Check out the show notes for more links to connect with Daryl. And I've just really loved this. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you having me. I'm used to talking as a team.
Anytime. You guys are all welcome.
I appreciate it.